How to establish initial software processes in 3 months or less. You might be pressed by the time, so there might be a quality audit coming into your company, or you want to apply for a high-ticket project and having a software processes is one of the conditions, or you have a lot of incoming projects and you need to absorb them with the same amount of people. So whatever is the reason, here are the 3 steps how to establish the initial software processes in 3 months or less. So step number 1 will take you about 2 to 3 weeks, and it's all about collecting what you already have. So don't start from zero. There might be people in your team that came from a different industry, from like a mission critical industry like space industry, or they may have come from the safety critical industries like automotive or aerospace, and they may have already previous experience with working under the strict processes, so they may speed it up a lot. There might be a project that you have already delivered, so you know which mistakes you did, you can summarize those. So collect all of this, and it will take you about like 2 to 3 weeks of the work here and there, but it will give you like a real solid base for the processes that are tailored for your team, for your specific projects. So start from your past project, past experiences, past errors, things that, for example, customers were asking about, and that is the much better way to do that. Point number 2, deploy checklists. So the step number 1 will not give you really software processes, full-blown software processes. They may give you 1 or 2 checklists or standard operating procedures if you described how you did, for example, a software release in the past. So in the step number 2, you will focus fully on the checklists. And that may take you about 2 months, maybe 1 month, maybe 2 months. Checklists are a great way to start your software process improvement, because they actually separate the phases of the processes themselves. So inside the process you may have multiple phases, like for example in verification and validation process you have the planning phase where you plan your testing strategy, where you plan your test campaigns, where you plan which test reports will be done, and at the end of that phase you may have a checklist where you will just check, okay, we have all of these things done, all of that was considered in the planning, fine, we can move to the next phase. So the checklist will be like a separators between different phases of your full-blown processes. And again, the checklists in your team should not be something that you just read from the standard, because that's the generic stuff, or ask ChatGPT, how my software release checklist should look like. You will get something so generic you will not know how to use it in practice. So collecting your past mistakes, or collecting what is important specifically for your team, for your customers, for example, that is much better way to start. So the phases 1 and 2 already took us like 2 months, let's say. And in the phase 3, we will focus on developing first 1 or 2 full-blown software processes. So you already have checklists, so you know what do you want to check at the different phases in your processes. And now it's the time to put the goals of each phase into the process. So I don't recommend to do the processes in like really a procedure, A, B, C, D, because every project is a little bit different. Every customer wants to have a little bit different documents, a little bit different structure in the documents, so the expectations are a little bit different. Another nice benefit is that by specifying the goals inside the processes, instead of really like procedures do A, B, C, D, is that you will give people the freedom. So you only give them goals like, okay, the test campaign should produce the test report. How they get to the test report, whether they will auto-generate it or whether they will write it by themselves because it's very specific for that particular customer, that may be different per project, but the goal is there. We need to produce the test report. So if your initial processes that you will create in a month 3 consist of a set of checklists or guidelines, standard operating procedures, and the high-level goals for each phase in the process, then that is very, very good start. That will give you very solid base, very scalable processes where you leave a lot of space for the people actually to step into this and suggest how do they want to improve the processes in your team. So just a brief summary at the end. First 2 or 3 weeks, start to collect what you already have. Don't start from zero. Another month or let's say 2 months, is creating and deploying checklists, getting the culture in your team to the level that they accept, okay, now we have some procedures, now we have some checklists to be used with every document, with every software release, let's say. And then the month 3 and 4, developing full-blown software processes. Again, don't start with more than 2 processes. You will give your software process improvement much higher chance to stick with the team, to be really used in the practice long term. So I hope this video gave you some inspiration for your software process improvement. Let me know in the comment below how it went for you. Don't forget to subscribe, it helps us to grow this channel, and I will see you next week.